will be in 2 Samuel chapter number 24. 2 Samuel chapter number 24. And I tell you, we'll back up. We're going to read the whole chapter. I know larger text than normal, but we need to include all of this. Originally just planned to use 11 through 25. Let's look at this whole chapter. Second Samuel chapter number 24, verse number 1. And again the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel. And he moved David against them to say, Go number Israel and Judah. For the king said to Joab, the captain of the host, which was with him, Go now through all the tribes of Israel, from Dan even to Beersheba, and number ye the people, that I may know the number of the people. And Joab said unto the king, Now the Lord thy God add unto the people, and how many soever they be, 100-fold, and that see the eyes of my lord the king may see it. But why doth my lord the king delight in this thing? Notwithstanding the king's word prevailed against Joab and against the captains of the host. And Joab and the captains of the host went out from the presence of the king to number the people of Israel. And they passed over Jordan, and they pitched in Aroer on the right side of the city that lies in the midst of the river of Gad towards Hazir. And they came to Gilead, to the land of Tahidam-Hachi, and they came to Jan and about to Zidon, and came to the stronghold of Tyre, and to all the cities of the Hivites and the Canaanites. They went out to the south of Judah, even to Beersheba. So when they had gone through all the land, they came to Jerusalem at the end of 9 months and 20 days. And Joab gave up the sum of the number of the people unto the king. And there were in Israel 800,000 valiant men that drew the sword, and men of Judah were 500,000 men. And David's heart smote him after that. He said the number of the people. And David said unto the Lord, I have sinned greatly in that I have done. And now I beseech thee, O Lord, take away the iniquity of thy servant, for I have done very foolishly. For when David was up in the morning, the word of the Lord came to the prophet Gad, David's seer, saying, Go and say unto David, Thus saith the Lord, I offer thee 3 things. Choose one of them, and I may do it unto thee. So Gad came to David and told him, and said unto him, Shall 7 years of famine come unto thee in thy land? Wilt thou flee for 3 months before thine enemies, while they pursue thee? Or that there be 3 days pestilence in the land? Now advise and see what answer I shall return to him that sent me. And David said unto Gad, I am in a great strait. Let us fall down to the hand of the Lord, for his mercies are great, and let me not fall into the hand of man. So the Lord sent a pestilence upon Israel from the morning to the evening time of morning, and there died the people from Dan to even Beersheba, 70,000 men. And when the angel stretched out his hand upon Jerusalem to destroy it, the Lord repented him of the evil, and said to the angel that destroyed the people, Is it enough? Stay now thine hand. And the angel of the Lord was by the threshing place of Ramah, the Jebusite. And David spake unto the Lord when he saw the angel that smote the people, and said, Lo, I have sinned, and I have done wickedly, but these sheep, what have they done? Let thine hand, I pray thee, be against me, and against my father's house. And Gad came to that day to David, and said unto him, Go up, rear an altar unto the Lord in the threshing floor of Ramah the Jebusite. And David, according to the saying of Gad, went up as the Lord had commanded. And Araunah looked and saw the king and his servants coming on toward him. And Araunah went out, bowed himself before the king on his face upon the ground. And Araunah said, Wherefore is my lord the king come to his servant? And David said, To buy the threshing floor of thee, to build an altar unto the Lord, that the plague may be stayed from the people. And Araunah said unto David, Let my lord take the king take, and offer up what seemeth good unto him. Behold, here be oxen for burnt sacrifice, and threshing instruments, and other instruments for the oxen for wood. And all these things did Araunah as the king give unto the king. And Araunah said unto the king, Thy Lord thy God accepts it. And the king said unto Araunah, Nay, but I will surely buy it of thee at a price. Neither will I offer burnt offerings to the Lord my God of that which doth cost me nothing. So David bought threshing floor. The oxen for 50 shekels of silver. And David built there an altar upon the Lord, and offered burnt offerings and peace offerings. So the Lord was entreated for the land, and the plague was stayed from it. Dear Heavenly Father, God, thank you for the day. Thank you for what you have given us. God, thank you for this time that we can gather together, that we can look at your word, that we can study your word, that we can allow your word to change our hearts, to change our lives forever. God, I pray that if there be anyone here that don't know the message of your salvation, they don't understand what you've done for them on the cross of Calvary, allow them to understand that clearly today. Convict them and draw them unto you where they can get that settled eternally. God, for the rest of us, show us what we can do to serve you better. Use your word, allow the Holy Spirit to give us discernment, to give us guidance, to give us instruction, for wisdom, for proof, for correction, to allow us to live in a better way of righteousness. God, just change our hearts. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. We're just going to back up and we're going to break this down into this text down into a few different chapters. The first thing we see is David numbered people. David began to focus on how many people he had behind him, how many people that he would have to fight for him, and there was a sin involved with this. We know Israel they kind of had a given track record of not always walking together and serving the Lord. They had a track record of losing their faith. They had a track record of turning to idolatry and turning to other gods, not keeping the one God, the only God in their life. And God was upset with them, and God was troubled with them, and David was their king, and David called out, and he told them to number the people. And they ended up receiving punishment as a whole based on his action. And this example it sheds a light, so to speak, on God's government of the whole world. We know that he is the creator. He spoke everything that we have into existence. He is the ruler that's still on the throne. He's alive and he's well. And he's watching over, he's protecting, but he's also ruling the earth as we speak. His government is supreme. And it allows us to see when the pride of David's heart took over and he began to number the people, he began to trust the arm of flesh more than the arm of God. And if we really want to boil this down, we ask ourselves, what was the sin? What was the trouble with David numbering the people? What was the trouble of him taking a census, so to speak? If you've not had your door knocked on, it is that time of the year, and the censors are out, and they're taking a population test, so they're coming if you haven't seen them yet. But what was the sin in David ordering his men to do this? And the Bible doesn't give us a very clear answer on that, but there are some things that we can take, and I know we can apply to our lives today. It was simply this: the census that Moses called for, the numbering of the people not Moses, the census that David called for. We're going to talk about Moses in about 33 seconds. The census that David called for was not commanded by God to be done. It wasn't. He said, I want to do this, and I want this done, and I want to know how many that I have. But if you go back to Numbers, in chapter number 1, you'll see where Moses was told to take a census, but Moses was commanded by God to do it. And it says in Numbers 1 and verse number 2, take ye the sum of all the congregation of the children of Israel after their families, by the house of their fathers, with the number of their names, every male by their poll. You see, the sin wasn't in numbering the people. The sin was in a failure to allow God to lead and guide and direct his life. The sin was him taking upon himself to begin to look at his control and his command instead of allowing God to be the king. Now, I don't know about you, but that fits in my life this morning. If it's in probably our life as a corporate church this morning. All too often we do things that are good, we do things that are pleasing, we do things that are acceptable, but if God has not commanded us to do it, if God has not led us down that road, it's sin. And it's wrong. And we're going to have to stand accountable for it. You can look at 1 Chronicles chapter 21 and verse 1, and you'll see where Satan stood up against Israel, and Satan provoked David to do what? To number the people of Israel. This is not a one-time occurrence. This is something that was going on. Numbering of the people was either given to us in context as led by God or provoked by Satan. So it's important that when we start this chapter off, we don't focus on numbering of the people. That's not the sin. The sin is not being led by God. Pastors, I can preach to me, and I can preach to other pastors. There's no sin in counting how many people's in your church on Sunday. The sin comes when you begin to rely on that number for whatever reason you're going down the road on. The sin comes when you begin to look at numbers to see if you can get your way or how things are going to happen. The sin is not in counting an offering, church. The sin is in worrying whether God's going to take care of His resources or not. Are we ever finding ourselves wrapped up in sin? Are we numbering the people, quote unquote? You see, God was angry with them. And God was angry with David. Another possible motive that is safe to draw from this passage, especially the first 9 verses, is that whether David was thinking of a military movement or a political movement among the people, he had totally discounted the spiritual movement of God. He had lost sight on the power of God. And I think this is a principle that is running rampant through our churches today. We forget that God's covenant with Israel is God's covenant with us. These people of these days, they forgot that God had created a covenant with them concerning an issue of numbers. God told them in Deuteronomy 7:7 that the Lord did not set His love upon them, nor did He choose them, because they were more in number than all the other people. He said, actually, you are the least. You are the fewest of numbers. And even though God had made that covenant with them, and God had set forth to take care of them, the sin comes when they began to look at the numbers. When they began to take their eyes off of God, when they took their eyes off of the spiritual things of life, and they began to look at themselves and what they would be or would not be capable of. When God sent Gideon to lead the Israelites, what did He declare there over in Judges chapter 7? He told them, He said, the people that are with thee are way too many for me to give the Midianites into their hand, lest Israel vaunt themselves against me, saying, my own hand has saved me. You see, Gideon won the battle. The Israelites won the battle. Why? Because God won it for them. It wouldn't have mattered if there was 2 of them, if there was 3 of them, if there was 4, 5, or 6 of them. He would overcome them because God had ordained that meeting, and God had led them to that point, and God was going to deliver them and see them through. And they had faith in that, and they had trust in that. It wasn't about the numbers. Think about David as a young man. He understood he knew the context. He's the one that went to visit his brothers. And he's the one that ended up being the only boy man enough to go out to the battlefield and stand before the Philistines and stand before the giants. And remember what he told them? He told Goliath that the Lord does not save with sword and spear. He said, this battle is God's. This battle is the Lord's. And He will give you into our hands. David understood. That's why God was angry. David understood the powerlessness of the number. But he had taken his eyes off of God. So I challenge us this morning. Is there anything in our life that we've taken our eyes off of God? Is there anything that's happened this week, or maybe this month, or maybe it's happened this year, or maybe it was many years ago? Have we lost sight on the power of God? If so, we're living in sin. God is probably not happy with us. He's a just God. He's righteous. He is to be high. He's to be lifted up. He's to be exalted. He's a jealous God. He don't share His power with nobody. He don't tolerate it. But oh, we forget that. And we begin to go down that road. And that's where the children of Israel were. That's where King David was. In verses number 10 to 15, we see David's choice. And this is an interesting part of the passage. Well, not often do we see God send word to us that, well, I got a punishment for you. Here's your three options. Which door are you going to choose? But God did do that to David here. And God sent word to him, these three options. He said, 7 years of famine come unto thee in thy land. That's option A. Option B, you can flee for 3 months before thine enemies, and they're going to pursue you. That's door number 2. And door number 3, 3 days pestilence in thy land. David found himself in a peculiar situation here, didn't he? You get those 3 options. There's one thing that wasn't an option. Judgment was coming. The sin's got to be paid for. There's going to be a price to pay. There's going to be consequences. But here's your 3 options. Option A, 7 years of famine for your land. Option B, 3 months you can run from your enemies and they're going to pursue you. And option C, 3 days pestilence in the land. David chose the pestilence. He chose the 3 days. 70,000 people perished over 3 days. Why in the world would he choose that option? Because he's selfish. That's where my study went. That's what I began to look at. You, the king, you made a decision. And you're going to choose to let all your people suffer. And it wasn't just that you're going to choose to let your people suffer. You took the easy road out, because now they're just going to suffer for 3 days versus 7 years. Then I began to move on in my study. And God put my brakes on. He said, no, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. So I began to go back, and I got stuck on that passage, and I began to look at it, and I began to examine it, and I could say God opened my eyes. David made a wise choice. Pestilence, a fatal epidemic disease. The bubonic plague. Other diseases that have killed many. He chose 3 days of pestilence. Why did he choose that? Well, let's look at it. Option A, 7 years of famine. There would have probably been a few people die. But they would have just had hardships. They would have just had trouble for 7 years. That's a lot of days, man. That's a lot of days to live in famine. They've already lived in famine for how many years? They knew what that was. They knew the trouble. I believe David didn't choose that route because David knew that they were sinful, and David knew that they would adjust to the famine, and other countries and other people, they would just become bondage of other people. And you know what? Egypt would have got the glory. The surrounding countries, they would have got the glory. Because then man would have been lifted up just taking care of God's people. David was a sinner, but David was a genuine leader. David was a man of God. We have no doubt about that. We see it all the way through the Bible. He rejected plan A because he didn't want to give other people credit. You know, sometimes we have to deal with issues. Sometimes in life we just have to bite the bullet, so to speak, brace and take our whooping. Because if we look to get around it, we may make it. But God's not going to give the glory. We find ourselves in sinful situations. We find ourselves in trouble. We find ourselves in trial. Turn to God. Just say, God, give it to me. I'm deserving. I know you got this. But option 2, it looked really good. It looked really good. You see, David, the leader, he could have said, you know what? I can run from my enemies for 3 months. I can hide from them for 3 months. I can deal with it. And my people, they won't hurt. And my people won't struggle. My people, they'll be all right. What's the worst that happens? My enemies catch me and God lets them take my life. But think about our country, Israel. They'll be spared from God's judgment. Why did he not choose that? I don't think it had anything to do with the selfish thought. You see, David didn't choose that because then the people of Israel would have never repented and would have never returned. And you see, if you go back to verse number 1 of chapter 24, it says, and God was angered with who? The children of Israel. It didn't say, and God was angry with David because of David's sin. He was angry with the children of Israel. So if David had took the fall, would his country have been saved? They wouldn't even have changed. I was thinking back in preparation to this, but how many pastors, churches have got in trouble? And the pastor just resigns and walks away and takes the brunt of the problem. You know, on earth here, and I've been guilty, we tend to honor those men. We tend to honor those women that do that for the sake of unity. But you know, if God don't really lead them to do that, and they just do that on a leadership decision, the church never heals, and the church never changes, and God's still angry with the church. And they'll just get somebody else that's going to walk in and have the same troubles, and the same trials, and the same issues. David didn't reject plan B because he didn't want to be running, and he didn't want to take the brunt. He knew that it would not change God's people's heart back to God. So he chose the 3 days of fasting. He even said down there, I'm a sinner, you're a sinner. We're all sinners. And we're going to subject ourselves at the mercy and the forgiveness of our loving God. He's going to punish us, but I'm going to be just as punishable as anybody else. And we are going to get through this. And God is going to have mercy on us. And God is going to redirect us. And it's just for 3 days, people. I remind you, how many days did the rain fall upon the face of the earth before God wiped away the earth? It was more than 3 days, wasn't it? David understood that God said he would never wipe away the whole earth again. David said, I'll choose the 3 days pestilence. Why? Because it will allow every one of us to repent. If God takes my life, he takes my life. If God takes your life, he takes your life. We're guilty. We're deserving of punishment. that takes a big man. That takes God's guidance. And God takes God's leadership. So how do we bring that to a modern application? We all in this fight together. Christians. Notice I didn't say Lakewood Baptist Church. I said Christian. I don't care if you're a Christian in the West Banks of California, if you're a Christian on the East Banks of North Carolina, if you're a Christian at the southern tip of Texas, or I guess Maine is the highest point. I don't care if you're African, Asian, Australian. If you know Christ as your Savior, you're a Christian. In church, the one church of God, combined as a whole, we are failing God today. And I believe God's angry. And God's disappointed with us. But I remind you that God's not outlined 3 options for us. God has even simplified it for us. We have 2 options. We can choose His payment for our sins, or we can choose to pay for them ourselves. How many are making the wise decision? Jesus died on the cross for all sin. He died on the cross for all people. He died so there could be a way when there was no way. And all we got to do is say, Lord, forgive me. But believe in our heart. You see, we should repent. Now, there's got to be a change. There's got to be a willingness to submit. There's pestilence upon our land now. There is a fatal epidemic disease, and it's called sin. And people are dying not just daily, but by the minute, and going into eternity in hell because they're rejecting Jesus Christ, and they refuse to confess Him as Savior and Lord of their life. But God is merciful. That pestilence came, and it was stayed in verse 16 and 17. There was more wickedness. The people had not fully repented. There was pride. There was anger. There was all the things that humans deal with in life. But the pestilence stayed. There was a second chance that was given to them. God told the angel of death, stop. He said it's enough. Stay now thine hand. And David spake unto the Lord when he saw the angel that smote the people. He said, lo, I've sinned. And I've sinned with you. You see, we were given a second chance when Christ left the kingdom of heaven. When He was born of a virgin and He lived a sinless life and He laid His life down on the cross of Calvary. When He looked up in the hymn, He said, it is finished, and He gave up the ghost and He died. We were given a second chance. You see, David understood the corporate sin that took place over the nation. That's why he chose the pestilence. That's why he chose the fatal epidemic. But he knew it was only going to be for a few days. And he knew God was a God of mercy, and God was a God of forgiveness, and God was a God of love. And I can tell you today that the pestilence is upon you because you've never received Christ as your Savior. You're headed for an eternity in hell, but God has made a second chance available for you. And He shed His blood as the hand that will stay the pestilence that we face. Salvation is offered before you. In the very place that Abraham was saved from slaying his son, there was an angel of death that God told, stop. it's enough. And there's a place on a hill called Calvary that Jesus gave it all for you. And that is a place that you can go to this morning. That's a place that you can cling to this morning. That's a place that you can know that while you were wretched and you were wrapped up and you were sinful and you were separated and you were full of wickedness and full of darkness and full of no hope, there's a place right there that Jesus Christ bled and poured out on the ground to say, stop, that's enough. I'll stay your sin and I'll pay for it. David made a wise choice because it allowed all people to experience God's wrath, but also God's love and God's mercy. But then we come to the last part. You see, David turned back to a personal forgiveness. David still fell and said, Lord, I sinned, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. And then we see a picture of David's sacrifice, and we see the plague being removed. What can we take out of this, church? Verses 18 to 25. Well, it's pretty simple. And Gad came that day to David and said unto him, Go up, rear an altar unto the Lord in the threshing floor of Araunah the Jebusite. And David, according to the saying of Gad, went up as the Lord commanded, and Araunah looked and saw the king and his servants coming on toward him. And Araunah went out and bowed himself before the king on his face upon the ground. David went to buy the threshing floor. David went to build an altar. David went to sacrifice. And he went to the king of Araunah, who come out and recognized him and respected him and said, what is it that you need? And he said, well, I come to buy the threshing floor so we can make sacrifice and altar to our Lord. And he said, it's yours. Whatever you want, take it. And David said, no, I will not. He said, but I will buy it from you. Because I'm not going to offer burnt offerings to the Lord my God, which does cost me nothing. What's our sacrifices costing us today? That's the final challenge of this message. What is our sacrifices costing us today? There's nothing free. I know you agree with that. There's nothing free. We serve free breakfast, right? Somebody pays for it. There's nothing free. And our sacrifices to God can't be free either. David said, I am not going to build an altar. I am not going to sacrifice it to the Lord if it's not going to cost me anything. What's that tell us today? I'm guilty sometimes. Oh Lord, yeah, I'll make that sacrifice as long as it fits my schedule. Well, yeah, God, I'll give you that because it's left over at the end of the month. I'll sacrifice putting this in my savings account, Lord, to give to you. But would I really sacrifice that if it wasn't there at the end of the month to give to me? Lord, I'll sacrifice this. I'll sacrifice that. God, I know you're working on me. Yeah, God, you're asking me to do this, but I can only do it on Thursday mornings at 8 o'clock. What's it cost us? You see, I think as a church as a whole, we've got into being content with free sacrifice. I think we've got into being very content that our sacrifice is wrapped up on how much time or how much money or how much energy we put into it. Well, David shows us that the sacrifice has got to be a cost. Think about the sacrifice that we paid for our sin. Could there have been a higher cost? Absolutely not. If we all, every person on the face of the earth, was to lay our life down for the sake of sin, it would not equal the sacrifice of Jesus Christ. because he was sinless. He was innocent. Oh, Aaron, I'm not innocent. My tongue gets the best of me sometimes. I stole a few things from Grandma as a kid. I get my gas pedal down a little too far sometimes. They ain't caught me. That don't mean it ain't sin. I wouldn't be worthy to pay that price. But Jesus did. He paid it all. The cost of his sacrifice was paramount. It was the greatest. It was unparalleled. And I'll conclude this morning with this study in this chapter. God was angry because of sin. God offered him three options, and David chose the pestilence. God stayed the pestilence, and David did an honorable sacrifice back to God. You know, the book of 2 Samuel closes with this. So the Lord was entreated for the land, and the plague was stayed from Israel. Is our prayer this morning not that we want God to be entreated with Lakewood Baptist Church? And that his wrath can be saved from us? Our individual prayer this morning should be that God is entreated with Aaron, above, or Amy. Put your name in there. And that his wrath has been stayed from us. We've got to recognize that we're sinful. We've got to recognize that sometimes we engage in things that we shouldn't engage in, and that angers God. It angers God to the point where sin has to be paid for, but he loved us enough that he made that payment available. And when we receive that payment, it's time for us to sacrifice back to him. It's time for us to build altars. It's time for us to worship God. But that sacrifice can't be a free sacrifice. There's a cost involved. Maybe it's sweat. Maybe it's tears. Maybe it's financial. Maybe it's time. I don't know. I'm not telling you what you're doing for God ain't good. I'm just asking you, what's the cost? Or are you doing it on your own accord in your own time? When you feel ready. When your schedule allows. What is it this morning? I think the cost of sacrifice, even throughout our worship service. How many times do I find myself guilty of just mouthing the words to the song and not singing them from my heart? Why don't you do that? Well, sometimes I have other things in my mind. Sometimes I allow what's going to happen this afternoon, or what we're doing tonight, or what we're doing this week, or you name it, to take precedence. Well, to praise God and make a joyful noise requires the price of, I'm going to put this stuff aside before we're going to look at you. I'm going to worship you. It's more than going through the motion. It's more than allowing being tired, being weak, to have control. Our work, our service, our Bible study, our prayer, everything that we do should cost us. God will be pleased with that. God is worthy. And God desires the best. It cost Jesus everything to purchase our salvation, to purchase our deliverance. Don't take the easy way out. Repent. Turn to him. Pray. Dear Heavenly Father, God, I thank you for the day. I thank you again for this passage. God, I thank you that you God, I pray that you allow us to not ever get wrapped up in numbers, to not ever get wrapped up in anything except how great of a God that you are. Remind us of all the deliverance that you give to the many people. God, we're just a church of 100 people here. But you deliver hundreds of thousands. Anything that comes before us will be no feat for you. God, I pray that you allow us to examine ourselves, to repent, to turn from any sin that we do. Allow us to sacrifice worthy to you. God, maybe there's some things that we're doing that we're doing it for our own good. Or maybe we're not doing it as you have called us to do. There was nothing wrong with counting the people when you ordained it. The sin comes when he decided to do it on his own. God, sometimes we may find ourselves doing good things, but it's not the way you called us to do it. Correct us there. Allow us to refocus on you. Anything that you've laid upon our heart, I pray that you let us do business with you today. God, that you have your way in this time of invitation. Just speak to us. Allow us to hear, allow us to accept, allow us to be faithful to whatever you tell us. Lead, God, direct us, Lord, we love you.